Good afternoon, everybody. Guys, back up here to help. So, my name is Donald McLaren, Managing Director at McLaren Packaging, and I'm also a shareholder and Director of Corrboard UK. So today, there we go. So as Tim said, I'm going to talk a little bit about the whys and the history of Corrboard. Then I'm going to pass on to Rob, our new Managing Director at Corrboard, who's been in the role since the 1st of January, so 1 month in, who's going to talk a bit about Corrboard today and some of its values. And then Nick's going to finish off with a bit of a talk about the circular economy and what we're doing with energy at the Corrboard site. So I'm going to start off with the why. And to be honest, I do ask myself this question a lot sometimes, given the last number of years. So really, the why is encapsulated around 4 principles centred around independence. So primarily security of supply, running a sheet plant in the UK, which is a highly consolidated market for paper and packaging, competing against large, dominant, vertically integrated companies was a real challenge, and for me presented a real risk to our sheet plant in the long term. And we felt with something independent like Corrboard, it could give us a strong future as a business. Closely connected to security of supply is diversity of product. Sheet plants thrive on innovation, access to papers, flute profiles, grade profiles, and with such a consolidated market, that can be challenging for the independent sector. And again, Corrboard, an independent sheet feeder, could give this range of products of supply. The third point is around integrity. Good business relationships are built over the long term, and we wanted a company, a supplier that we could rely on and trust. And the final point from 10 years ago was sustainability. Now, 10 years ago, sustainability was a topic. It probably wasn't as big a topic as it is now, but we looked around the marketplace back then, and 10 years ago, you may recall, there wasn't really much investment in sheet feeding. The corrugators were quite old. Even at the time, Prowell's new corrugator was a second-hand corrugator from France, and we felt there was space for a modern, energy-efficient machine to service the independent marketplace. So these 4 whys really sit around this core principle of independence, because today we're an independent company. We're founded on that basis and remain very much so. So to talk about the history of Corrboard, many of you probably don't realise that the project actually started just over 30 years ago in the early 1990s. It was Nick's father and my father and a few other independent sheet plants had a concept to do this type of a project, and had discussed with a company, an American company called CSI, Corrugated Synergies International, who had a very strong track record in the US of bringing together independent sheet plants to pool the volume and the investment and share the risk of a corrugator. Fast forward 20 years, after the demise of Western Corrugated at the time, Nick here took the initiative to revisit the project basically and recontact CSI, who at that time were under new ownership, and thereafter started the journey of Corrboard. So there's a few key tasks I'd like to talk through that we went through along that journey that were quite interesting. So the first challenge is finding enough sheet plants in the UK with a shared vision and a shared set of values, and most importantly enough volume of corrugate purchases to set up a sheet feeder. Not an easy task, but with some of Nick's contacts being a trade supplier, 8 UK sheet plants were identified and committed their investment and their volume to Corrboard UK. So with a consortium of 8, the next job was then to find a building for said company. Now, with 8 different sheet plants, that was quite a challenge. I wanted the plant to be set up in Scotland. Nick wanted it in Stone. Tim wanted it in the West Country. So the debates went on and on. Ultimately, we found a really good option in Scunthorpe, where we're located today. Finding a factory for a sheet feeder isn't easy. It has to be around 200,000 square feet. The building has to be relatively long and thin for a corrugator, and it's got to be near the motorway network. And as I say, we're located in Scunthorpe. We actually found the an ex-Mondi factory, 320,000 square feet, bigger than we actually required, but given it was previously a corrugated plant, a real good fit for us. So with our group and with our building, we then had to agree on a corrugator, very important. So this involved a couple of trips to the US, where we saw a bunch of the plants over there and how they'd set up. And from that, we decided to invest in a 2.8 metre Fosberg corrugator. And where we were convinced that the concept of delivering sheets palletless was a good idea. Now, I think the good weather in California, the dynamics of cheap haulage in the US, and quite a lot of beer and pina coladas, we got a bit carried away and thought that would be a really good idea. However, with the reality of the UK weather and loading curtain-sided vehicles safely, we ultimately learned this wasn't such a good idea. So finally, with our machine and our factory, we agreed paper supply deals, and we had to decide on a logo for the company. So again, 8 entrepreneurs around the table trying to decide on a logo for a company. It was quite an interesting debate. The project over the years was called Project Secret Squirrel because we didn't want the industry to find out about what we were up to because it would have caused us some challenges. And with a bit of artistic license, it was decided to use the squirrel in combination with what we thought were corrugated flutes to create the company's logo. And I think it's fair to say this is a good example showing that we're corrugate professionals and not really graphic artists. So there'll be a bit more in the logo later on from Rob. So in 2013, Corrboard was incorporated, and a year later, it's produced its first sheet of corrugated board. We found that sheet feeding with an American operating partner was quite a difficult challenge. It was very capital intensive, particularly when we were all trying to run our own sheet plants without pallets, which presented a host of challenges. So in 2017, the business was restructured, and CSI, the American partner, left the business, and VPK joined the business, providing operational control, additional working capital, and security over the supply of paper, which is fundamental in a sheet feeding business. At this time, we had a stronger footing, and we pushed more into the wider sheet plant market. Up until that point, Corrboard's focus had been more internal with its founding partners, and today the vast majority of Corrboard sales are to the outside market, outside of its founding partners. Moving on, and in parallel to all of this, Nick was busy working on another project. One project's not enough for Nick, he likes to multitask, and he actually set up a green waste to energy project that we're going to hear a bit more about later in the presentation. So this brings us up to today. Pleased to say sheets are all now delivered on pallets after an investment last year in a fully automated pallet line at Corrboard. And the business is now jointly owned by 4 of the original partners who founded the business. This is Dairy Pack, Fencor Group, Swanline, ourselves at McLaren Packaging, and we now have VPK joining the business as an operational partner providing that expertise and guidance. So Corrboard, like many businesses, suffered its fair shares of turbulence and ups and downs over the years, and I'm sure some people in the audience will have experienced that directly. As I mentioned, as of 1st of January, we're under new management with Rob here, and we're in a much stronger position in the marketplace. And on that note, I'll pass you on to Rob to explain what we're up to today.
Thanks, Donald, and thanks to Tim and the SPA for the opportunity to talk to you about Corrboard today. I have, as Donald's explained, I have a much shorter history with the business. In fact, today is day 1 of week 5, so a lot to learn. That said, what I'd like to do today is talk to you about our supply capabilities, tell you about other new members of the team that have joined the business in the last few weeks, and then give you a bit of an overview of the focus that we have as a team in the short term as we get to know the business and its customers. And then finally, I'd like to share with you our thoughts about the future of Corrboard and how our values going forward as a business. So Corrboard Scunthorpe, as Donald said, it is in fact one of the largest sheep feeding sites in the UK, and we are, back at Corrboard, very proud of our independence. Our 19-acre site is owned by the business, and we have 320,000 square feet of manufacturing and distribution facility, working on a 24-shift system with an annual capacity of over 200 million square metres a year. Our FOSBA gapless order change corrugator with double down stackers was designed to use 40% less energy than traditional corrugators, and we offer a wide range of flute profiles, B, C, BC, EB, and our own adapted iFlute, across a wide range of board grades, from 125 Test B to 300 Craft BC. And as I said, capacity of over 200 million square metres a year. More importantly, we are in a unique position with regards to our supply chain, being able to access a wider supply chain via our relationship with VPK, whilst being able to continue to source independently, ensuring continuity of supply and, where we need to, stronger commercial terms. We have a long-term relationship with our on-site logistics provider. With up to 80 loads capacity outbound per day, the site is centrally positioned. I say centrally, probably more north-south than anything else, but that's because I'm a Yorkshireman. And is very close to the motorway networks, as Donald said. So the team itself, as I said, I joined the business not so long ago, having previously run a large integrated plant in the UK, and prior to that, working outside of packaging, I've actually spent time with Kingspan and with the Paragon Group, so I'm actually not just new to Corrboard, I'm actually very new to the corrugating industry. So we've strengthened the existing team at Corrboard. Interestingly, again for me, the discussion we had earlier with regards to women in industry, 5 of my existing team back at the site in Corrboard are actually women, so it's actually quite a strong dynamic for us, the fact that we have so many females on the team. So as I said, we're strengthening the team, adding extensive experience and knowledge of both the sheet plant and the corrugated packaging industry. Paul Broderick's joined us as sales director, and Nick Montgomery has joined us as technical manager. Both Paul and Nick have over 35 years experience in the industry. So our immediate focus as a team is to get out and meet our customers, listening and gaining understanding of their needs, whilst building a clear picture of how to build our business and take it forward. Our priority today is to ensure that we support the needs of our customers through the quality of our products, our service delivery, and with consistency and reliability. Finally then, I'd like to share with you the future of Corrboard. We are resetting the focus of the business, and an important part of that is our identity and our branding. We are therefore retiring the red squirrel. Donald's very kindly offered to take the red squirrel up for a retirement home in Scotland. So our new branding today, we're unveiling, which will be fully launched in just a few weeks' time. For us as a team at Corrboard, the future is then quite exciting. And it will be very much about, for me and for the team, looking to build strong long-term partnerships with all of our customers, operating with a structured, stable team whose focus is service delivery and product quality, and ensuring, more importantly, we do what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it. That's absolutely critical for me. Our sustainable future is about maintaining our independence and creating both an identity and a reputation for which everyone involved in Corrboard can be proud. So Corrboard, sustainably independent. Many thanks again for giving me the opportunity to talk to everyone today. I look forward to meeting and working with many of you over the coming weeks and months. And I'll now hand you over to Nick to talk more about sustainability.
Thank you. Thank you. I think there's an argument to say I've probably got the best bit here, actually, because for all, and we're not hiding it, a lot of traumas for Corrboard over the years, but the vision stays the same. It hasn't changed. What can we do that's something different? And I think we've now got to the point where we actually are offering something different. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the sustainability side of Corrboard and what it means to us and our customers at Corrboard. And it's very interesting to listen to Mark and Una's presentation earlier on Saika. And this is about our circular economy and what we've done at Corrboard to generate something that we believe is a huge USP. I guess in many ways, Donald sort of did mention to it some of the traumas, and you could sort of brand this Corrboard 2, the sequel, because it has had a lot of issues in getting to a point of making it do what we wanted it to do. So Corrboard Bioenergy is a completely independent company to Corrboard. I thought the best thing to do really when we go on about a circular economy was to Google it myself, and the best definition of a circular economy actually is on the Ellen MacArthur website, which states the elimination of waste and pollution, a circulation of products and materials, and the ability to regenerate nature. And that also a statement by Ellen MacArthur. There's no concept of waste in nature. Everything is food for something else. A leaf that falls from the tree feeds the forest by returning nutrients to the soil and other systems. We can enhance natural resources, so we can enhance natural resources. And that, I believe, is what we've done actually with the energy plant at Corrboard in a slightly different way than was described earlier by Saika, but nevertheless completely unique to what we do as a sheep feeder. So what we have done really is generate an ecosystem between food waste and corrugated packaging. And when I refer to food waste, this is not scrapings off plates and things like that. It tends to be processed waste from food manufacture or food that's not fit for human consumption and ordinarily would go to landfill. So here we go. That is a picture at the top there of Corrboard Bioenergy. We believe it's the world's first bioenergy plant in sheep feeding, purely fueled by food waste. Corrboard Bioenergy, or Corbio, as I will refer to it now, is about a £7 million investment, independently owned by Donald and our business, but it's intrinsically linked to Corrboard UK, fundamentally important to what Corrboard is trying to do for its own customers' sustainability. We're permitted to process 100,000 tonnes of food waste per annum, which is a lot of tonnage. We're currently processing in excess of 25,000 tonnes, so we have a lot of room to expand. It's a modular system too. It uses a process called anaerobic digestion to produce biogas. The biogas fuels two 400 kilowatt hour CHP, or combined heat and power units, and two 200 kilowatt hour boilers. So the electricity and heat is then supplied directly into Corrboard from those units. The output of Corbio is about 140% of Corrboard UK's requirement. So the rest goes into the national grid in some form. Corrboard UK is carbon neutral in its manufacturing process. Important that we define that as a manufacturing process rather than a product. At the moment, discussions are going on, so letting you into our little secrets here, but nevertheless, this is important to us. Investment is under review at Corrboard to replace the natural gas boiler for the corrugator with a biogas boiler, increasing the food waste coming into the plant, increasing gas output, and therefore a massive sustainability benefit moving forward for Corrboard. And the waste we process there, typically animal byproducts, category 2 and category 3. Also oil, well, you can read them out, oils, fats, dairy, food, veg, beverage, that sort of thing. Anything that's organic will get processed through the plant. And they're received in different ways, so bulk tankers, loose, DOLAV skips, you name it, we have them in and they get processed, some of it automatically. And there is an automated depacking line. So sadly, we have a lot of waste coming into the AD plant that was shipped out for human consumption, then for whatever reason hasn't entered into the food chain. That can be because immigrants in the back of a lorry and the whole container is classed as contaminated, in which case it comes into AD. Ordinarily, that would have gone to landfill. So we take that waste in too. And being close to ports, we do get quite a lot of containers in of waste that is classed as contaminated. That's a screenshot. I thought I'd put that on because the interesting thing about the AD plant is the whole plant can be operated via a laptop. And Donald and I, when we log in to have a quick look what's going on, can be very dangerous sometimes. So we've learnt to sort of stay clear and there's 2 people run the plant. It's a 2-person operation. But everything, if you click in parts of this screen, the whole plant can be run from a laptop. Obviously, there's a lot of other work to do, mostly in terms of legislative work with the Environment Agency, lots of record keeping, etc., but nevertheless, a fairly seamless process from receiving the waste into processing it into energy. And then closing the loop of our circularity. So the final stage of our corrugated ecosystem, the byproduct of anaerobic digestion is organic fertilizer, or digestate as it's called in the industry. We know all these buzzwords now from an industry that we had no idea what we were doing when we got into it, but employed the expertise. We've learnt a lot since then. It's a very nutrient-rich substance, and it's spread on fields local to the plant, ordinarily within 10 miles of Corrboard. And it has lower carbon than artificial manufactured fertilizers, a smaller carbon footprint. It's pasteurized on site, so the heat that's produced by the CHP units pasteurizes the materials. It takes all the nasty bugs out, E. coli, salmonella, everything else that you wouldn't want to be getting. And then it's certified to a certification called PAS 110, which basically accredits it as fertilizer and safe for spreading onto fields. It's a very important accreditation. Not everybody gets it. We've got it at Corrboard. So there we go. And circularity continues. It's spreading it onto the fields, growing more crops, whatever, which then come through the food chain and come back as waste. So typically Corrboard's customers, if they have food, customers themselves who generate waste, you can tie your waste contract with a packaging contract, pull them together as one. I think quite a unique proposition. Swanline have done a little video which I'll share with you now. This is for our own promotion, but this video could be made available to anybody and branded to their own liking should they wish to do this. I'll just play this very quickly.
What we do with our waste is an important question for the world. Swanline Group Circularity is one project that makes waste a lot less wasteful. Here's how it works. Food processors and food manufacturers from around the UK segregate their waste from other non-organic waste streams, and this is collected in tankers, skips, on pallets or loose. After collection, the food waste is transferred to our state-of-the-art anaerobic digestion plant in Scunthorpe. It's here that the food waste is broken down and used to produce renewable energy in the form of biogas. The biogas is then used as an eco-friendly energy source for the creation of electricity and heat to produce corrugated cardboard. The subsequent CO2 neutral manufacturing of this material provides unique sustainability credentials for the packaging from which it is made. That's true circularity, but moreover, the byproduct of the energy production is high-grade commercial fertilizer for spreading on farmers' fields. So, when food manufacturers and consumers continue to dispose of their waste for renewable energy generation, circularity continues and the whole process starts again. To partner with a trade-only supplier of sustainable packaging that is truly circular, what we do with our...
Sorry, that's just about Swanline, so I'll cut that bit out. But you'll get the drift, and as I say, Corrboard can make that video available to anybody who wants it and branded to your own business should you have the opportunity of linking your packaging supply or material supply into waste supply with a customer. And I do think that is a unique proposition for Corrboard. Thank you.